We are in Japan, so we start with the traditional dish shabu shabu with Tom Chilton and of course my teammate Daryl Young. Yes, here we are at one of the most famous circuits of the planet, Suzuka. I have quite a lot of experience here because I lived 5 years in Japan and was of course also racing here a lot. But 2 years ago we had a good experience because we won the race here. So yeah, I'm in a positive mood again. The drivers are always talking about the setup of their car. Well, it's because of one reason, to make the car as fast as possible and of course to win the race. The setup of the car is never the same. It all depends on the type of circuit. Do we have slow corners? Do we have high-speed corners? Or probably because of the different conditions. Because when it's wet, of course, you have less grip than when it's dry. The four main things where we work on the setup is springs, shock absorbers, the roll bar, front and rear, and the weight balance of the car. First of all, the springs, they're mounted on the front here and on the rear on this side. With the springs you have a choice. There's hard springs and softer springs. It all has to do with the thickness of the spring. And when the spring is very strong, so it's harder, it expands harder, but it also wants to go in harder. The problem is when you want to stand out with the car, once you take the corner, it's loading up, the weight is going there and the spring is going in, but at the same time the spring wants to jump out. We all know it when you take a pen apart, you take a spring, pop, it always wants to expand. And once it's too hard, it loads, but whoop, it slides out. You know, you load it too much. And this is why we're looking for the optimum mechanical grip, and sometimes you make the spring then a little bit softer or a little bit harder. The basic we use 140, 120. The second thing is the shock absorber, which is mounted together with the spring. Because the spring always wants to expand, the shock absorber is doing that to get it in slow motion, as well as the bump, which is the in, and the rebound is the out. And you can adjust the low speed, the high speed, and the shock absorber is being used to do all the fine tuning of the chassis together with the spring. The third important thing for the setup is the roll bar. It's important, yeah, it's already in the name, the roll of the chassis. When the car is like high up, the car is always up, rolling a lot. And with the roll bar, if you make it stiffer, you let it stand more fast. So it's up, up, up. So we make the car more sharp. And also important, if you have change of direction, like in a chicane, it's up, up, it's responsive, because otherwise, it's too lazy. And with the roll bar, we can control this. This is the roll bar in the front. As you see now, it's on the stiff side because it's a U-bar, and when it's standing like this, it's stiff. When the blade is in this position, it gets more soft, and this is how we can play also in the middle. The roll bar on the rear is also mounted on the suspension, and it's also in the blade style. Sometimes you can make the arm shorter or longer. That's also a way to work with the roll bar. Roll bar we use quite often, like for instance once you need the traction at the exit of low speed corners, you make the roll bar maybe a little bit more soft to load the car a little bit more to get the traction. Once you have a lot of understeer on the front, like in the medium speed corners, normally wise, we make it a little bit more stiff to put the load on the front, because once you take the corner it's rolling less, so it stands, so it's put the load directly on the front. It's just an example. There are many options, but this is how you can work. The fourth important thing in motor racing for the setup is the weight balancing. Now, for instance, the car is 1,000 kilos, a little bit more, but just as an example, the ideal thing is left front 300 kilo, right front 300 kilo, left rear 200, right rear 200. You know, then the balance is right everywhere. It's quite difficult because I'm sitting in the left side, so then probably we put a little bit the left front a little bit higher so that the balance weight is everywhere the same. For instance, I'm 80 kilos, just as an example. 80 kilos on one leg, you know, it's not so good balance and quite heavy on the left leg. When you have 2 feet standing together, it's already 40-40. Yeah, but the balance also is a little bit better, but not really strong. Once I'm standing a little bit more wide, like how the BMW is, yeah, it's already a bit better and a lot stronger. And this is also the way how the balance works of our BMW.